Have you already started to see them? Maybe from a proud grandparent's wallet, or on a friend's phone, or filling your newsfeed on Facebook. Sleepy eyes and forced smiles, a new uniform, or a carefully planned outfit, looks of trepidation or excitement, and backpacks, all shapes and sizes of backpacks. I am talking, of course, about first day of school pictures. Students of all ages preparing for a new year and a new beginning. The start of a new school year is often a time to look backward as well as forwards. Parents will put pictures side by side of years past and this year as a way of reflecting on the many ways that their kids have grown and matured. Often you can see the wonder and possibly fear that comes with the unknown of a new start. Will I like my teacher and my classmates? What challenges will come as my backpack gets filled with work and assignments? And will I be able to meet these challenges? I've noticed that many of these pictures are taken by the front door. They are literally and figuratively on the threshold of what is to come. Our passage from this morning from Deuteronomy also comes from a threshold, a moment of crossing over, a pause before starting something new. The Israelites are gathered on the bank of the Jordan River after 40 years of wandering in the wilderness. They have come out of Egypt and through periods of rebellion and return, and now they are poised, ready to cross over into the promised land. Moses stands before them, and he knows that he will not cross over this threshold with them. The book of Deuteronomy is presented as a series of sermons and speeches that Moses gives to the Hebrew people. In fact, the name Deuteronomy comes from the Greek for second law or repeated law. Moses is reviewing the law for the Israelites one last time, outlining their covenantal expectations as the people of God. He has summarized the mighty acts of God that have brought them to this point. He reminds them of the promises that God made to their ancestors, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to Sarah, to Rebekah, and to Leah and Rachel. Moses repeats the story of their liberation from slavery in Egypt, and he reiterates God's faithfulness as they have journeyed for years in the desert. What we just read is the final portion of Moses' final sermon. While standing at the threshold of a new phase in the life of God's people, a phase in which he cannot accompany them, this is the message that Moses leaves with them. These are his final words of preparation, his final summary of who they have been and who they will be. This is what he wants them to carry with them as they go. It is the summary of their covenant with God. It reflects the laws and expectations for living in relationship with God and with one another, laws and expectations which Moses has communicated so many times before. And it contains his hopes for how they will live into this covenant and this promise as God's chosen people in a chosen land. So he sets before them a choice. It sounds simple at first: choose life or choose death, blessing and prosperity or curses and adversity. Choosing life means obeying God's commandments. It means walking daily in God's ways. It means turning away from other gods and from the many paths that may be more popular or may offer quick rewards or, frankly, may just be easier. It is a choice for that particular moment, but it is also a choice to be revisited and reconfirmed throughout their lives as the people of God. And it is a choice to which each of us must continually return throughout our lives. And so we go back to our own thresholds. We stand by the front door and we snap a quick picture, and then what? As we put kids on the bus for a new school year, or as we start some new phase, or simply begin each new day, what do we need to carry with us? What is essential in order to make the choice to love God, to walk in the Lord's ways, and to observe God's commandments? In addition to pens and notebooks, computers and calculators, crayons and rulers, we must fill our backpacks with the tools that will enable us to choose life. Textbooks and homework assignments and report cards toted in our bags are tools to reflect our learning. But the character and qualities that we also carry are tools to reflect our wisdom and our commitment to choosing life over death. God has provided many such tools, but I want to focus on just a few. First, choosing life requires empathy and caring. It requires that we be able to see beyond just ourselves. Empathy means that we are able to understand someone else's feelings and perspectives, and as a result, genuinely care about them. It enables us to actually do to others as we would have them do to us. The Graduate School of Education at Harvard University has an ongoing project called Make Caring Common. They conduct research and they produce resources in order to accomplish their mission of helping educators, parents, and communities raise children who are caring, responsible to their communities, and committed to justice. And what do they see as the primary instrument in this monumental task? Empathy. They describe this capacity to tune into others' concerns and needs as the heart of what it means to be human, and as the foundation for acting ethically, for good relationships of many kinds, for loving well, and for professional success. At this beacon of higher education, at this place where selfish ambition might not be hard to find, the experts say that what really matters in how we raise and teach kids and in how we behave as successful adults boils down to caring about one another. It takes practice to care for others in ways that God calls us to care. We must be intentional in reflecting kindness, in encouraging one another to imagine what someone else might be thinking or feeling, and in order to expand our circle of concern to care for people and places and things beyond ourselves and those closest to us. It means that we have to care whether others have the necessities of life in food and shelter, education and healthcare. It means that we have to let go of grudges and truly try to understand why someone might disagree with us. Real empathy empowers us to extend grace and to reflect to others the love and mercy that we know through Jesus Christ. Choosing life also requires courage. After Moses finishes his last sermon to the Hebrew people, he gives some specific instructions to Joshua, who will be their new leader. Throughout these instructions, he says over and over to Joshua, "Be strong and courageous." Choosing life and choosing to follow God's commandments does not come without challenges. Our packs need to be bursting with courage. It takes courage to rein in selfish ambition and instead take time and energy to help someone who is struggling. It takes courage to stand up for what is right and for what you believe. The events of the past few weeks have presented some powerful images of courage alongside of powerful images of hatred and fear. The protests in Charlottesville and now in cities across the country have called many people to courageously stand up for God's love that extends to every race and every nation, and to denounce hatred. But true courage also means taking this stand without returning violence to violence. In the aftermath of the events in Charlottesville 2 weeks ago, a quote from Nelson Mandela has shown up in a lot of places. Mandela suffered firsthand the violence of racism, and in his autobiography, he writes, "I never lost hope that this great transformation would occur, not only because of the great heroes I have already cited, but because of the courage of the ordinary men and women of my country. I always knew that deep down in every human heart there is mercy and generosity. No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite." He points to the ordinary courage of ordinary people in their ordinary lives. It takes courage to show up at a rally denouncing neo-Nazis and white supremacists, for sure. But it also takes courage, perhaps even more so, to lovingly challenge a friend or coworker when they make a casually racist remark. It takes courage to stand up for those who are bullied on a daily basis in the classroom or in the office. It takes courage to act each and every day in ways that are loving, peaceable, gentle, and full of mercy. Finally, if we are going to choose life on a daily basis, then our backpacks must be absolutely crammed with hope. It is pretty easy to imagine that the Israelites on the banks of the Jordan River, ready finally to enter their promised land, are filled with hope. But what about those Hebrew people generations later by the waters of Babylon? Those people who read these words after seeing their city and their homeland destroyed, who read these words while in exile. Even in their despair, they too are called by Moses' words into hope. In the wake of destruction, God promises return and renewal. In times when they or we may want to give up, the choice comes again. Choose life or choose death. Choose life. In choosing to walk in God's ways, we are proclaiming a hope that is larger and surer than hope found anywhere else. We are choosing to hope in the God of the covenant, the God that promises to liberate us, to forgive us, and to renew us over and over again. The choice of life over death is not a static, one-time choice. Each new year, each new day, sometimes each new minute, we must renew our commitment to obey, love, and hold fast to God. Our promise to act in ways that reflect the gentleness born of wisdom described by James. In short, our dedication to choose life. So as we pack our backpacks, our briefcases, our purses, or our diaper bags to go to school, to the office, to the gym, or even to the grocery store, may we carry with us each day those essentials that will remind us, challenge us, and empower us to choose life. May our backpacks be overflowing with empathy, courage, and hope, so that at this and at every threshold, at each new day and at each new choice, we will choose life. When the choice is between racism, bigotry, and hatred, or celebrating God's creation in all of its diversity, choose life. When the choice is between anger and hurt feelings, or seeing another's perspective and trusting in their good intentions, choose life. When the choice is between greed and selfish ambition, or generosity and a commitment to working together so that all might grow and advance, choose life. When the choice is between despair and hope, choose life. The word of God is indeed very near to us. It is in our mouths and in our hearts and even in our backpacks. In that word is a choice. Set before us are life and death. Choose life. It is all that easy and it is all that hard. Amen.